Hey, welcome to Opinionated Creators. Jesus, that started off so slow. You're listening to Opinionated Creators. This is Jay and Cay.
Hey.
Here we're on another episode of Creative Day Tuesdays. Today we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hey man, you really fucked up that intro, I have to say.
I did, but you know what's hitting this blunt? This blunt really hit.
Yeah, we're high.
But yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy, very enjoyable film.
I love that movie. It's funny because I feel like I say that in every one of these videos. I just love, like, Marvel. I don't want to tear down DC, but Marvel and Disney and people over there, they do a really great fucking job
with telling
at
stories.
What they do. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's hard to hate, for me, to hate a Marvel movie. Because I don't hate any other Marvel movies. There's some movies that I like less than others.
Hulk.
Get the fuck out of here. That ain't no goddamn Marvel movie. You know, fucking, I mean, MCU movie. Let me even phrase the fuck out of that sentence. Don't totally. That movie used to give me aneurysms. Like, you just gave me an aneurysm because I just like harkened back to fucking Banner and Hulk fighting it out in the dream space, looking in the mirror. Like, I hated that part. Although it did make me jump. It kind of scared the fuck out of me. I wasn't expecting Hulk's big ass hand.
Right.
To grab Banner.
Anyways, Guardians.
Yeah, Guardians. Talk about a better Marvel movie.
The first thing that I wanted to bring up is that this film, it introduces a new perspective of space. We've seen space before because of the Thor, like, you know, Thor 1.
But even if it was seen his little corner.
Yeah, we've only seen his little corner, which is a very isolated corner, as we find out.
Exactly.
Where Guardians of the Galaxy is very galactic in that sense.
It felt really like, it's going to be so hard because DC just needs to, it felt really like a Green Lantern-esque movie, or like what a Green Lantern movie should have been. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like what the Green Lantern movie should have been.
A Green Lantern movie should be like,
it should be in space.
It should be in space, and it should be the feeling of a cop. Like the benefit of Green Lantern is that you can go light buddy cop comedy or dark.
They're cops. They're space cops.
They're space cops.
So they deal with everyday cop shit, and then they deal with like detective stuff, and then they deal with like big case things where like conspiracy stuff and shit like that.
So it's like you have so many possibilities.
I've always said that Green Lantern works better where it's like Star Wars or Star Trek meets like Lethal Weapon. You know what I mean? It's like you can have those two Lantern partners and make it be a buddy cop film and throw in a big conspiracy type deal, you know, and let fucking loose, dude. Yeah. These are powerful ass space cops with a weapon on their hand that lets them create anything and everything.
And it's like you can go anywhere on the scale of neighborhood troubles to planetary troubles,
to cosmic galactic scale troubles.
Exactly. And it's like, why limit yourself to the neighborhood?
Exactly.
It was like, who gives a shit about how Jordan's love life
on Earth? Like,
on Earth,
get your ass in space and fight Sinestro, for fuck's sake.
He barely care about his love life on Earth. That's what I'm saying. Which is why she becomes a Lantern herself.
Star Sapphire. I love how this was supposed to be a Guardians movie. Guardians video.
Well, space and everything. The Guardians, they introduced a new idea of space and the exploration of space. We get introduced to Nova. Not Nova, the character,
the Nova Corps.
But the Nova Corps, which Marvel fans will know that Nova, Richard Rider, or
Sam Alexander.
Or I'm going to assume soon to be Sam Alexander. If this is like essentially Earth's first generations of heroes, then I'm going to assume Sam hasn't donned the helmet yet.
Yeah, no, definitely. They definitely said I think it's when we see him in Guardians 3. But Gunn said if we see Nova in Guardians 3, it'll definitely be Richard Rider's Nova.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it's we get introduced to Xandar, a whole nother civilization other than Earth. Yeah. Which in time will get introduced to a whole new other galactic civilization.
And Xandar got it popping.
Yeah,
because Xandar is a collection of all races that just came together.
Yeah, Xandar is kind of like the Galactic America.
They're like the Confederacy, I don't want to say
it's
Confederacy, but it's a mixing pot of exactly.
And it's like that's
why Ronan hates that place so fucking much.
Yeah, who's part of a whole nother civilization, the Kree civilization, which is very monarchy.
Yeah.
And it comes to show that there's very when you deal with civilizations
and elitists and stuff like that.
And it's like they really did their research with Guardians, because one of my favorite theoretical scientists, Michio Kaku, classifies civilizations in 5 levels, and it's all based on your ability to produce renewable energy.
Right.
Where Earth would be technically our planet Earth in our universe, real world, level 0. Almost level 1, because we don't have a renewable, sustainable renewable energy source that we planetarily just use. We have various ones, but we use predominantly fossil fuels. And because we use predominantly fossil fuels, we are a level 0 civilization in advanced civilization classifications. But then you have, where Earth is currently in the MCU. Now they're a level 1 because they have a reactor tech, all throughout, the planet because of Tony.
Right.
And then you have Xandar, who is, I would say,
you don't
maybe
think
a level 2.
You don't think Earth would be higher than a level 1? Because aside from Tony, now they're in 2023. Alien tech has permeated that.
See, now they're probably teetering towards a level 2.
Right.
But I'd still say
as of right now,
because I believe a civilization using something like a Dyson sphere is level 3, level 4, which would be Nebula Delir and the dwarves. And the whole star that created Mjolnir, that they crafted Mjolnir at.
And Stormbreaker.
That's what scientists would call a Dyson sphere. And it's essentially you building a structure around a star and harnessing the energy, the natural energy that star creates, and harnessing that for yourself, which the dwarves clearly do to create weapons. So it's I would say because Asgard protects them, they would be classified as maybe a level 5 civilization, which is super hyper advanced, which is why they have warp drives that they can control with swords, hammers that they can summon lightning with, and shit that just seems like magic because their understanding of the universe in itself is just deeper and just wiser.
Right.
They're older civilizations, so they're more advanced. And so their ability to interact with the universe is vastly different. Take the Celestials and the idea of the birth of the universe that we get introduced to in Guardians of the Galaxy. We get showed glyphs, a small glance. I don't even want to say glimpse because I want to use glyphs afterwards, but we get a little glance at glyphs, of, death, entropy, infinity, and eternity. The creators of the MCU, essentially, or rather the Infinity Stones, the ingots that created the universe.
Multiverse, really, right?
The multiverse, yeah. Which I would speculate the Infinity Stones are the multiversal, the Infinity Stones that we see in the MCU are the multiversal equivalent of all Infinity Stones in Marvel Multiverse. I only say that because these are one of the few Infinity Stones, unless they're going off of recent continuity, that can cross over different timelines and universes. Because if Tony was able to snap Thanos out of all realities, that means you hopped over to different universes and killed Thanos. And if the Infinity Stones were that powerful, they must be the multiversal equivalent. Like Eternity has multiple versions in each universe, but he has a multiversal whole.
I think what the thing is, it's like, because they have War of the Realms going in the comics right now. And that's what they kind of did when Gamora went all ape shit and or Infinity Wars that led into War of the Realms. Infinity Wars, actually. When Gamora went ape shit, killed Thanos, blah, 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 and folded the world in on itself and threw the heroes into Soul World or whatever. Like, Loki recreated Infinity Watch. He got the Infinity Stones from the Soul World and exited the Soul World, and it was still able to be used in the mainstream. Because like you said, only each universe has its own set of stones, and they can only work in that set universe. So for the fact that Loki was able to get the Soul Stone, which is itself the Soul World's stones, which in itself is its own universe, exit that universe, come into 616 and still able to warp reality and shit like that in 616. I think it's a little bit of both of what you're saying, that they're most likely
pulling from current comics
and mixing them with MCU flair and stuff like that.
Yeah. But it's the biggest benefit with Guardians in introducing the aspect of space, or rather a different area of space, a wider area of space. We actually get to see the origins of space.
Yeah.
We get told the origins by one of the oldest beings. Well, he doesn't seem like one of the oldest beings in existence, but by one of the oldest beings in existence, the Collector.
Because in the comics, he's an elder of the universe.
Yes.
So.
Which is how he knows of the birth of this universe and has actual visuals of Celestials destroying the universe prior.
Exactly.
And it comes to show, like, you really have to stick to your genres. Like, you have to know your genres and know what you can introduce in those genres and stick to that, because that's where your story is. Right. This film, we actually get Thanos as a more prominent role in the film, even if it is
not just a creep.
Yeah, and not just looking at the camera.
So creepy.
Yeah, smiling. Like we
challenge them, Mr. Court Death.
Which one thing we'll get in that in Avengers. That was one thing that was never touched on. We'll touch on it more, but just a quick, they definitely wanted to do the whole Thanos and death thing. But like once, can't remember the last guy, but once they exited him out and brought Whedon, once they exited Whedon out and brought in Russo's was like, yeah, like that's the stupidest thing. Cause even me, I always thought that was stupid. Like, you trying to kill the fucking universe to get with her? Like, she don't even want you, bro. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it would have definitely made him more two-dimensional.
Yeah, definitely.
But it calls into question, how will we get introduced to death?
Deadpool. It'll be Deadpool now.
Probably. I can see it as that. Yeah. I mean, like, she's not necessarily a character that interacts with anybody, to be quite truthful.
The only person she's really seemed to care for and at least likes to interact with is Deadpool.
Yeah. But it's like, the question is like,
and that's only because she literally can't obtain him.
And this is really for Avengers talk, but I was really, really hoping that we got Thanos facing Judgment and being surrounded by all the Celestials
at the end of Endgame, or
like it happened in the comics. I was really hoping for that shot where the Living Tribunal is. There's a shot in the panels in the Infinity Gauntlet saga that essentially has Eternity, the Living Tribunal. It has
all of them. They're in the white room.
All the Celestials in the white room, and they're just surrounding Thanos as the Living Tribunal is about to cast its judgment. And I thought it would have been the greatest, like, little snippet just to, like, you know, introduce. But it turns out that giant CG character was Ant-Man. So totally okay with the Ant-Man scene though.
I mean,
that was jokes. He decked the Leviathan right in the face.
Yeah, one shot the Leviathan. That shit was so hilarious.
Yeah.
And then he squished Cole Obsidian like a fucking cockroach.
Like an ant.
Like the fact when you go rewatch it, like you can see the body like concave.
Yep. And
which is really like
he twists his foot and everything.
Yeah.
It's so disrespectful.
It really was.
So one of the last points that I wanted to bring up is that this film plays with the idea of with the chosen one versus anyone.
Right.
But we're going to pick up with this point in part 2. So stay tuned with part 2.